have never guessed that someone who moved across the country from Tennessee all the way to Watkins, Minnesota would become one of my most trusted friends. That is something that I would have never seen coming. Her name is Grace Urick, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Grace Urick has made a big impact on my life in the very short year that I've known her. She is unique, dedicated, and honest. Her qualities shine every single time I have a conversation with her. Grace is probably the most unique person I've ever met. She has a beautiful southern accent that is always refreshing to hear. She has a wide sense of style that I've never really seen people from my town wear. With her wide variety of sundresses that are always so colorful, bright, and filled with different designs, she sometimes wears them with heels or cowboy boots, bringing her hometown style and mannerisms to my neighborhood. She always calls me nicknames like pumpkin, sugar, or sugar lump, something that always makes me feel like I'm surrounded by warmth and care when I'm in her presence. She has a bold personality, one that was hard to grasp onto when I first met her, only because I've never met someone as lively and carefree as she is around people. I remember when I first met her, she was eager to know who I was and wanted to know my personality, but I was always too shy to talk to her. So whenever I wanted to go to visit her, I would force my sister Claire to come, even if she was too busy doing something, only because I was too scared to go by myself. Even though she only lived not even a mile away from my house and always welcomed me to her home with open arms. Now that I know her well, she sometimes sends me videos of what she's doing throughout her day, she invites me over for our daily visits and talks, and every single time I come over, she always makes me something to eat because she doesn't want me to go home hungry. I've always admired Grace for how much she stands out. Like I said, that is why she is so unique to me. Grace also has other traits, like how dedicated she is. From what I've seen, she's always been one of the most dedicated people ever. Grace has always been passionate about training and growing relationships with horses. She's currently working with a horse from Texas named Thorin. He grew up around bad people who hurt him physically and mentally, so he has always been standoffish towards everyone. He was supposed to be sent to a slaughterhouse around a month ago, but Grace was bold by wanting to turn this so-called dangerous horse into a horse that just wanted some affection, like what he was seeking from the beginning. So he was sent on the long ride from Texas all the way over to her house. She walks into his round pen every day, trying to understand this 1,000-pound animal, knowing that he could squish her like a bug if he really wanted to. But her gentleness and perseverance towards him shows him that not all human beings have bad intentions. Grace never had an easy life growing up, having difficult living situations and parents that were never really there for her. But she worked hard at being the hardworking mother in life that she is today, taking on every challenge life can throw at her head on, and always making it out perfectly fine. Even maybe learning a lesson on the way too. She's going through business school right now, working long hours at the same time, and still making it home to go to her kids' baseball games or coming home to make her family supper. And on top of that, listening to my sister and I, who aren't even her kids, go to her house at random times of the day and rant about something. But from what it looks like, we are like the two daughters she never got, and she loves every second of it. I hope that as I grow and learn about life, I can have the same dedication she has. Honesty is something that I think lots of people lack, but it's a trait that she never ceases to amaze me about. Grace has always been an honest person. Whenever I go to talk about something that bothers me, she's quick to put me in my place whenever I'm in the wrong or whenever I need to open my eyes and see how to view things from a different perspective, like putting myself in the shoes of someone I feel like wronged me. She has a degree in psychology, so she understands human behaviors and how people react to certain things. So she explains to me how to act a certain way in certain circumstances and how to handle situations properly. She gives me her honest opinions even when I don't want to listen to them. But her advice helps me in the long run. Grace's husband, Anthony, is just as honest as Grace is. He always said that he was glad to have 2 sons instead of 2 daughters, because seeing my sister and I bicker all the time, asking stupid questions, knowing that they're stupid, and complaining about dumb things would have made him go crazy. He yells at me like a dad would yell at their kid, but also is there to listen to me and give me advice, just like Grace. I absolutely bombed my math test one time and went over to Grace's house later that day to tell her about it. When I got over there, Grace already had some food ready for me, and we sat down at the table to talk about our day. When I told him what happened, Anthony said, "It's not your fault that you're blonde." So whenever I do something stupid around them, Anthony and Grace blame it on my blonde hair. Honesty is a quality that I really admire, which Grace shows in her everyday life. If you're a person who is unique, dedicated, and honest, that is something that you should take pride in. Grace is someone who I would consider a second mom to me. Lots of people have someone who they would consider a second mom, and Grace is like mine. If I could go back 2 years ago and see myself growing a bond with someone, a random lady who moved all the way from Tennessee, I wouldn't have believed it. In conclusion, I believe that everyone deserves someone like Grace in their life. And even if you don't have someone like that right now, well, you'll find one due time. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope you have a wonderful day.